During the game, actually, he made some really dodgy decisions. He was trying to play out from the back. He nearly got caught out. He tried to clear it with his wrong foot, Ali, and again, he nearly got caught out. There was some. We actually highlighted him at half-time to say, we need to keep an eye on the keeper.
I know.
And then he was the hero, or one of them.
I thought he was slightly better than Larry Mullen Jr. playing in front of the back four. It has to be said, he's another member of U2, just in case you're wondering there.
Thank you.
I see that. Just
knew I'd missed the joke.
Flew right above a couple of heads in the studio there. Yeah, would have been better seeing the edge, or would you have thought that had been the talkSPORT edge?
I'm all right with not knowing the names of U2.
Or perhaps Adam Clayton.
That's one thing I'm not embarrassed about.
No, you're right. He was okay, the goalkeeper. He just had one of those games, I think, where... You know, he played fine, but had a little bit of luck in his side, particularly the one right at the end, where they come into the back post and it hits the post right across the face of the goal.
He missed a penalty as well.
Yeah, clips outside of the post. But just one of those games. I mean, with the greatest respect, Spain could be still playing just now, and they wouldn't, 6 in the morning, and they wouldn't have scored.
Yeah.
But we're sitting here laughing at Gary Neville saying the problems in front of the goal, and then he scored 7. But Gary, to be fair, was right. He called it right. They don't have a centre forward, really.
I have to apologise to Gary Neville live on talkSPORT, live on national radio, because I did that game with him against Costa Rica, and Gary said before the game had even kicked off, he just wasn't sure where the goals were going to come from. And then they scored 7 goals from 6 different goal scorers, and we all had a laugh about it. And the world had a bit of a laugh about it. But he was absolutely right. They then went on and drew to Germany, then they lost their next game against Japan, and then they just couldn't score against Morocco. One thing I'd add to that is Morocco, they've only conceded 1 goal in the last 6 games.
Yeah,
and they've got a good defence.
And you know something? It's the only game they've not scored in. So you could argue, they have got goals in their team. They scored 7 against whoever it was.
Costa Rica.
Yeah, and then they got 1 against Germany, and they scored against Japan, and they get beat. Can you see I'm doing my homework? I've not got
literally just said it.
I've been absolutely thrown because I've lost my phone, man. I'm all over the place
Don't
this
worry
morning.
about it, it's fine.
And so... Listen, the bottom line is we always felt it was going to be a shock somewhere in the quarterfinals, and that was. But when you look at it in the cold light of day, won their group, really comfortable beating Belgium. So is it that much of a shock? I'm not so sure it is.
No, I don't think so. Anyway, Morocco are going to face Portugal in the quarterfinals. That's on Saturday at 3 p.m. And if they win, it will be the first time that an African side has made the semi-finals. And understandably, Morocco fans were over the moon last night. Sam Ellard, he was at the game for talkSPORT, and you must have had the best time, Sam.
I think in terms of quality, it probably wasn't the best games that we've been to.
No.
But I thought, in terms of atmosphere, in terms of intensity, it had that big game feel to it. I don't know what you guys have thought, but I feel like a lot of the games I've been to at the World Cup haven't felt like World Cup games. They felt like at times maybe, certainly in the group stages, like pre-season friendly matches.
Yeah.
Most of the knockout ones have, I think.
Got a bit better, but I thought last night it was, 75% Morocco fans inside the stadium.
Maybe even more.
Maybe even more. It feels like the European teams haven't travelled, have they, anywhere near as much as teams outside of Europe. But an amazing night, an amazing victory. Some had tears in their eyes. I mean, genuinely the best moment in their whole entire life. I mean, you were inside the stadium. That's what the World Cup's all about, isn't it, Woods? The upsets and moments like that.
Yeah, we were all standing there and we were pinching ourselves because I remember at one point, I think it was half time, I was like, or even at full time when we were going to extra time, I said something like, wow, this game's amazing, it's exciting, And the amount of people that messaged me going, no, it's not. And I was like, yeah, but the thing is, what we try to get across, I guess, when we do these games is it might not sound amazing if you're listening to the radio or look amazing if you're watching in your front rooms, but being there in that environment where that crowd was living every moment and feeling every kick of the ball, even if there weren't any goals, that was what made it so amazing, wasn't it?
Absolutely. And also, by the way, if you're going to knock Spain out of a World Cup, is there a better way to do it than a Panenka penalty, Ali? I mean, you know a thing or two, don't you, about Panenka penalty?
It's brilliant.
It was special.
It was brilliant. I've got to say, finished it really well. I would qualify it by saying, I know, I'm turning it Simon Jordan here.
Here comes the cold water.
I'm turning it Simon Jordan. I wouldn't have it down as the most pressurised penalty.
They were 2 up, weren't they, at that point?
2 up at that point.
Yeah. If it's sudden death, he doesn't do it, does he?
It's a real pressurised penalty if he's doing it to stay in the competition. But it was magic. It was absolutely magic and a great finish. And they deserved it. They defended incredibly well.
It had to be him as well because we did so many really lovely stories about him pre-match about how when they beat Belgium, for example, he dedicated that win to his mother, and he was born in Spain and came through Real Madrid as well. So this guy, he's Moroccan. born in Spain, knocked Spain out the World Cup. He's a really, by all accounts, a really great guy. And these shots of him with his mum have just gone viral. And you know what people are like. As soon as you see a shot of a guy with his mum, everyone's like, wow, he must be the best person in the world. Yeah. But I just thought it was almost like you couldn't write that sort of story, really, could you? And then Busquets stepping up and missing his penalty. I think it was his 4th World Cup, I want to say. He's the only member of that 2010 team to still be playing. So I just thought, wow, what are the chances just to have those kind of storylines in that game? I thought it was absolutely mega, to be honest.
Magic Night, Woodsy. That's why we love the World Cup. And by the way, they do not fear Portugal in any way, shape or form.
No, you do get that feeling, actually, Ali, when we were watching them. Before that game, we actually said if there is going to be a shock, if you can call any of them a shock, and that would have been one of them, it would be Morocco that managed to do it, because they've looked like a bit of a beast in this competition.
Absolutely. You're right what you say, Sam. However, Portugal will be absolutely delighted that they're playing Morocco rather than Spain.
And also, it's on the side of France and England, so whoever goes through might be looking at that as well, thinking that this Moroccan side can't seem to score. They can defend, but they've just played extra time and penalties, and no one else apart from Croatia's done that. So maybe they'll be looking at that, thinking they've got more minutes in the team. And also, they made 5 changes in the second half, and they looked like, I think 3 of their backline out with injury as well. So they might have a bit of a struggle with injuries in the next round when they play Portugal. But wow, it was a great day, really. Loads of goals in your game, Ally McCoist. It's like you sucked all the goals out of our game. What was it, 6-1 in the end?
6-1 it finished.
Poor old Swiss, eh?
Gonzalo Ramos hat-trick.